So thank you, first of all, everybody, for joining and allowing me to share what is my passion with people, and that is buff on a budget. So I started out as a professional chef cooking at a restaurant in the city called Craft, and I've had stomach issues my whole life, mostly throughout my 20s, where I had a hard time digesting food. So working at an upscale restaurant, I had to learn a lot of the recipes, how to substitute a lot of the foods so I could enjoy them. Because if I didn't, I suffered the consequences. So learning what buff on a budget is like, hey, I was young and I enjoyed the beauty of food. And I've enjoyed it my whole life. But ever since culinary school and working at high-end restaurants, I wanted to be able to recreate that at home. So I would go to clients' homes. I worked in a religious area, and people that would come, what's up, Sarah? People that would
Hey.
like come into my dad's store, just mute yourself if you can for me. People would come into my dad's store, and it would always be the Food Network would always be on. And then we would talk. They're like, oh, who's watching the food? And I would end up coming to their homes. They were very wealthy people, and doing Shabbat dinner. And like, the Jews like to celebrate everything big. So, the big backyard weddings, big holidays, I would come and do personal cooking for these people. Majority of them were kosher. So cheese and meat obviously don't mix. You have to use certain types of cuts of meat. So you have to learn how to adjust your recipes accordingly. Then I had my own gym because my passion has always been fitness, but it's always been cooking, and I wanted to be able to blend it too. So every week for my clients, I would create what's called a recipe of the week. And I would put together a recipe, and then I would shoot it on Facebook Live and call it Sunday Night Food Prep. So I got good feedback from that, and people would enjoy the recipes, but I didn't apply it as much as I would like to, which is what the purpose of Buff on a Budget is. Because that is truly me, right? Is helping people not just eat better, better quality, better tasting, and more affordable. So it can be done long term, right? And I said in my original VOD, this is the heaviest I've ever been, because for years I trained hard and always prepared my food correct. So for those of you that, for example, have digestion issues, a rare steak is not recommended. I would recommend cooking it more to the medium side. So that means we're going to be on the pan closer to 10 minutes per side. Those of us that like it red in the middle, we're going to be on 6 to 7 minutes per side, depending on the thickness of steak. And I'll show you guys. I have an 1.5 inch and a 2-inch. The 2-inch, just so it's easier for us to all get on the same page, I will use for the skewers because it's easier. I can break it down and easier for me to then understand the cook time, right? Because a thicker piece of meat, very hard. And we're going to learn how to feel your meat, right? So if you take your hand and put your palm up and you touch this part of your palm, this fat part, that is a rare piece of meat. That's what, when you touch the steak, when it's in the pan and it feels like that, that means the inside of the meat is rare. It means you've just seared it on the outside. If we take our index finger and our thumb and we bring them together, that is medium rare. If we take our middle finger and our thumb, that is medium. Medium well and well. And if you feel that, you feel how tough that is, right? That's how you know, if you can't time it accordingly, where your steak is at on the pan. Because after we take it off the pan, it's going to rest. It's going to rest depending, again, on the thickness of the meat anywhere between 5 to 10 minutes, so that all the blood and the juices can settle. And then when we cut into that steak, all the juiciness, that flavor doesn't shoot out. And I know those of you that are vegetarian or vegan, it's probably sounds disgusting, but it's fucking delicious. And we don't want the deliciousness to go away. Does anyone have any questions? No. Awesome. So what we're going to do first is, again, we're going to start with that marinade. So if you can grab your parsley, your cilantro, and your basil, and your garlic. If you don't like any of those, or like one of those more than the other, grab more of it. That's simple.
Hey, Mayor.
Yes, sir.
During this time, would you want us to go ahead and heat our pans up?
I'm sorry. Okay, so those of you that have, for those of you that arrived a little bit later, so what I'm using is a cast iron pan. I like that because it keeps the heat really, really well. So if you're cooking a bunch of steaks, obviously it's the best option. Also, it keeps a ton of flavor. So over the years, it'll just taste better and better. What I would say is a non-stick pan, or unless, like, if you're going to make a sauce after, use a regular, like, silver pan. I don't want to pull the pans out because Jack's sleeping. I'm not waking him up. Sorry, guys. But ideally, a non-stick pan would work fine, or like I said, the cast iron for steaks. If you're making fish, non-stick. So I'm going to take my steaks. So what I do, I buy my steaks at Costco. I don't know where at your Costco, but Sarah's, it's more expensive. But $7.99 a pound for New York strip steak. I'm going to, for the cubed one, I'm going to take my fillet knife and I'm going to cut all the fat off. I know, sacrilegious. I'm going to cut all the fat off, and I'm going to cube this into 1-inch cubes. So 1 inch, 1 inch. Okay. I'll show you guys obviously how it looks, and then I'm going to make it in the marinade. Okay. So everyone should, if you heated up your pans, get your garlic, get your parsley, get your basil, and let's get a chopping. So we're going to chop this up really, really fine, guys. And those of you that are going to make, if you're interested in making the kebab, so Colleen, I know you're cooking for a lot more people, and this is like a great, way to address this issue, right? If we're cooking for a lot more people and you're not really skilled with feel, guess what? Make the skewers, because it's in the oven and it's out. Versus, like, if you want the steak done the right way, you have to feel it throughout the cooking process. So if you got 5-6 people, it's going to be a lot easier to throw a couple of trays under the broiler for 3 minutes on each side and then use the skewers to flip than it is to sit there and touch each steak to the doneness that person wants. Because let's be honest, you're not going to invite people over for steak and then not ask them how they want it, right? It's like, that means you're overcooking it. That's how my stepmom used to cook it. My ex-stepmom always overcooked the steak, right? You see those people that like flip the steak 100 times? Guys, we're going to flip the steak 2 to 3 times. We're going to let the heat do the work. So in culinary school, there's like a bunch of different, ways each chef likes it different. So they say like a 10-second turn every 10 seconds, to turn like that, and you get the perfect even crust, right? Versus like maybe it cooking a little bit faster, the second half of the cook versus the first half of the cook. So I have all my ingredients. Guys, chopping, how we chop: hand to the top of the knife, point of the knife into the table, and then like a windshield wiper. go across and back. Does anyone have any questions? Unmute yourself, please, freely, guys. I can't see everybody. Is anyone not sure which steak they want to make? Or is everyone making the pan? Like, can we get a raise of hands for who's making it in the pan? 1, 2, 3. Everybody. Anybody making it in the broiler? Okay, Levita, awesome. There you go. I like it, Levita. I'm gonna do both.
I'm doing both too, Amir.
Love it.
Same here. I've got 4 steaks, so.
There you go. Make it happen, girl. So what Sarah was asking, she's like, hey, I have 4 steaks. What can I do with this? It's like, hey, cut it up into cubes. Cut it up into strips. Don't cut it up. Cut it up into long pieces of meat and make like, you guys like it in the South, fried, not fried chicken, but fried beef. No, beef. No, beef Milanese. The
fried steak, y'all. It's country fried steak.
Fried steak, y'all. Country fried steak. There you go. Thank you, Cody. So you cut it into like 2 or 3 sticks and mash it down, bread it, boom. You like that, huh, Cody? Thank you for the assist there, brother.
Have some red or white gravy with it. Yeah, that's good.
There you go, homie. See? So like if you have, like I just said, if you have a multitude of steaks that you don't know what to do with, freeze a couple like I do, have a couple like I did, and then, come to Buff on a budget and you'll learn how to do it. And that's what's great. So like same ingredients I'm using here with cilantro and the garlic. Guess what? I can use that exactly for my fajitas as well. So I can make 3 different variations of steak with 2 simple ingredients that I have here. So after you've chopped up all your greens, guys, you're gonna get yourself a bowl. And here's the deal. If you're using it as the marinade post, like as the dressing for the pan steak, we're gonna leave it in like a nice olive oil, okay? If we're gonna put it in the oven, we wanna use a high heat oil like avocado oil, grapeseed oil, canola, and vegetable oil obviously are optional but not preferable. So some type of natural fruit or vegetable that are then made into oils are always going to be probably the highest heat cooking. Besides coconut, obviously, because it's solid fat. But the majority, like peanut, right? It's a very high heat. A lot of people don't use peanut oil, obviously. So many people have allergies to it.
Hey, Amir, did you say earlier we want to cut the fat from the steak already?
For the cubed one, yes. So
okay.
I'm going to show you guys.
Seared?
For the pan seared, no. Hell no.
And then on the cilantro and parsley, did you chop up the whole bunch?
Oh, yeah. Well, so, this is what I always say for flavor. It's like, what do you like more? And go with that more of. But that's what's great about this. Like, guess what? If you use the chimiichuri as a sauce, it doesn't go bad. You just put it in the fridge and then bring it out for room temperature and use it tomorrow night for chicken or fish or vegetables because it's delicious herbs and oil. Where are you going wrong with that? So go crazy.
Hey, Amir, do we have to put the oven on to warm that up or something?
The broiler is going to take 2 minutes on each side, 4 minutes tops, depending on how thick you cut it. For your fish, you're going to go in the, you're going to make kebabs or you're going to go in the pan, your tofu?
I'm going to do the Beyond Meat in the oven and the fish in the pan.
Okay, so the Beyond Meat, I would really squeeze it around the skewer. And it's going to be like 3-4 minutes on each side. I don't know. I haven't really cooked Beyond Meat that much, so I can't tell you precisely what the cook time will be on that. So I'm going to take my steaks, take the fat off my big one. Never wash your steak, people. Always get a paper towel and pat it dry.
You wash it and pat it dry?
No, you never wash it. You always pat it dry. Like if you have blood on it and you want the blood off, because generally it has blood, you pat it dry. You do not press into the meat, because you will break up the beautiful tissue that it is. Sorry for the noise, guys. I got both my steaks here. All right, so I got my two steaks. I don't know if you can see it, but this one is a little bit bigger. I'll show you on my phone. Let me wash my hands real quick. So, can you see the height difference? You see how one is 2 inches, the one on the right is thicker than the one on the left. The one on the left, therefore, will go in the pan, because, again, we want to be able to control the sitch. We want to always make this process enjoyable and easy, because if it becomes stressful, then it's not enjoyable anymore. You know, like Jason Park said to me yesterday, he called me for a rack of lamb, how to make that, which we're going to do next week. So get your rack of lamb, people. Go to Costco or BJ's. Make sure you're buying it at a nice low price. So I'm going to cut my fat off my big boy. I almost want to cry when I do that. So what I was telling Jason Park in regards to, you know, like the lamb, you got to make sure that it's simple, because, you know, he was very intimidated by making a whole rack of lamb the first time. So I made it nice and simple for him. And then he's like, wow, that was so easy and it tasted amazing. Because if you've ever been to the world's best countries where food comes from, to the Italy, to France, to Greece, to Mexico, to Spain, the flavor of the food is not because of the complexity. It's because of the quality. And so for like the Heralds and the Scatinis, you guys have it good, because you guys get farm fresh. So as we continue to do these, not only are we going to start to add vegetable dishes, but we'll start to learn how to make vegetable dishes as a main course. So not vegetarian, but, you know, we're all looking to trim a little bit. And that's why I want to, you know, people were like, hey, how come we're not learning like recipes on the side and stuff like that? Because I want you guys to be master chefs with like the most basic stuff, like a steak, like a basic piece of chicken breast, that you feel so comfortable. And then like Sarah is texting me, hey, I made this new sauce that I've never tried before because I feel more comfortable. Because that's what it's about. It's not teaching you, it's not giving you a piece of fish, it's teaching you how to fish, right? So that way you guys then can, you know, share recipes with me, because that's what I want. I'm always looking to learn, right? And that's what's great is as
Really?
Sorry. As we get through more and more of these, you guys be like, well, I like this and I like that, and we're all going to learn about each other and what our palates like and don't like. So I'm going to put a little bit of mine, because I'm going to spread mine out. Well, for me, there's two, because I'm going to use the high heat oil on the skewers, and what's that? I can't see without my glasses. Dr. Jason Park. And olive oil for my salsa, my chimiichuri, right? So olive oil for the chimiichuri, avocado oil for the marinade. For the kebabs. Everyone with me so far? We get a
far,
thumbs
so
up
good.
or a holla.
Are we
I have a
making
question about the basil.
two different sauces then?
You are, yes, because you're making both styles. So
And they both have the same ingredients, just different oil?
Correct, sir.
Holla, holla.
Okay.
Holla, holla.
Are we putting the garlic in? Parsley, basil?
Yes. My garlic, parsley, cilantro, all that stuff is together.
If I'm using dried basil, because I forgot to get fresh basil, about how much of that do I want to start with? Because I've got like quite a bit of the other stuff.
Okay, so dried basil, dried ingredients are always going to be more pungent in flavor than fresh ingredients. So I would say use less, like maybe a teaspoon. Let me see how much you have, Sarah, so I can give you a better answer.
Let me show you my fresh stuff. I didn't go
Cilantro?
with all of the cilantro or all of the parsley, but I did most of the bunch and then just cut it up a lot, like really tiny.
Yeah, okay.
This is good.
Yeah, so maybe
That's
take
good,
like a tablespoon, a teaspoon and a half.
Okay.
So I usually will marinate my meat in a Ziploc bag for about an hour. Again, for the purposes of the session, I'm just going to take my meat, I'm going to put it in the pan. Those herbs smell so good. Then I'm going to take my marinade, I'm going to pour it on top. If you're not comfortable with touching meat, guys, get gloves or get spoons.
The marinade, we're just putting olive oil in it?
No, that's for the chimiichuri. The marinade that's going in the oven, that's avocado or grapeseed oil.
Got it. Thank you.
So this is what I'm making. See the skewers? I got my skewers ready to go. Look at my meat, beautifully marinated already. And again, that's why I would let it sit generally for about an hour. Yeah, there you go. Oh, that's good too. It's gonna have a lot. Yeah, it's gonna have a lot of flavor though. That sesame oil is gonna add a lot of flavor.
So I shouldn't use the sesame seed oil?
Try not to.
Okay. I don't have any. I have vegetable oil or olive oil. That's it.
Vegetable oil.
Okay.
Because the olive oil will smoke. Oh, let me do this over here. So I'm skewering my meat. And the reason for that is so just because while this is going to take like no time to skewer. It's going to take 3 minutes on each side. Because again, you've cubed it to about 1 to 2 inches. And this is what's nice is like, hey, if you had some nice vegetables, you cube them up, you put that in there, and you mix it all together, and you start to skewer meat, vegetable, or meat, 2 vegetables, meat, 2 vegetables. And like for you Harolds and Scatinis and all you other people that have children out there, you get the kids involved, put gloves on their hands and show them a few, guide them so they don't stab themselves in the hand with the skewer. But, guide them and show them, hey, look, you take it between your fingers and try to find a way through the meat without piercing yourself. Okay. And that's why we got to trim that fat also, because if we don't, it's going to take a much longer time for that meat to cook on those skewers. And all of a sudden, you have some parts that are cooked and some parts that aren't. No bueno. Whereas the steak, everything's going to get a good amount of time on the pan. It's going to allow that cooking process to happen.
Real quick, Amir.
Yes.
I want to recap, make sure I understand this. I think Brandon asked this before. It's like we're dividing our herbs in half, and it's like the avocado oil or the high heat for the marinade
the skewers.
The skewers. Got it.
Mm-hmm.
And then olive oil.
So those of you that are done, let's heavily season with salt and pepper our steaks. So I'm gonna wash my. Yes, that's me.
What are we doing with our fish? Do we need to salt and pepper that, or put the marinade on?
Oh, salt and pepper. No, you guys are gonna leave your fish and that chimichurri is going to be your sauce after the fish is done. So that's the reason we want to finish up the chimichurri first, because we want to let it sit as long as possible so it can really pick up flavor.
We were supposed to add the oil to the chimichurri, right?
Yes, ma'am. Everything should be ready to go as far as the skewers. And for those of you that are with the New York strip on the pan, I appreciate you being patient. We're going to take our hands. We're going to heavily season one side.
Sorry, how much oil for the chimichurri?
Crazy, Brandon. About thumbnail above the herbs. Thumbnail above the herbs.
Okay.
So if you have the herbs in a bowl, a thumbnail above that.
You want it pretty wet. Is that what you're saying? You want it pretty thin?
Yeah. Like, you don't want to. Here's what's going to happen. All those herbs have oil in them, and they're going to release that oil when you put the salt and pepper in the chimichurri. And the oil, it's going to extract the oil. So it's going to actually, and they're going to come down, so they're not going to look as big. They're going to wilt a little bit, and then it's going to look like even more oil. Does that make sense? Like right now, they're fresh herbs, so they're not wilted. They're very present. You could see mine are already starting to wilt. And again, not that I'm not a fan of steak sauce, but look, if you have going back to what I said about the quality of the ingredients, the beautiful part about having a steak is the flavor of the meat. The last thing you should be doing is putting A1 steak sauce, or like if you want to put a wine reduction that has the flavor of the steak from the pan, I'm 1000% for that. But when you start to like overcomplicate the flavor of the meat, then you're stealing away from that beautiful piece of cow that was raised for consumption, unfortunately, but let's respect it by making it taste delicious, right? So I salted my steak on both sides very heavily because it's a thick steak. Then I'm going to take my pepper and I'm going to season my steak very heavily. My pan should be at a medium heat, guys. Medium heat. You do not want to be at a high heat. So I'm going to go over it again for those of you who may have missed it. If we're cooking to a rare steak, a medium to a rare, you're going to be anywhere as far as cook time from 7 to 9 minutes. Medium, around 8 or 9. Rare, well done, or medium well, 10, 11 minutes per side. The steak will never be on the pan more than 25 minutes. If it is, shame on you. That's a dry steak. It's a really dry steak.
Are we salt and peppering both sides of the steak or just one?
Yes, sir. I like to salt and pepper both. Some chefs like to salt and pepper one side, put it on the pan, and then do the other side, put the salt and pepper in the pan. But I don't want to put too much salt on this pan because it's cast iron, and the salt will ruin that.
Got it.
Especially loose salt, correct? Like if it's packed inside the meat, it's one thing, but if it's loose.
Correct. So I have here, and this is something cool you could do with the chimichurri. For those of you that want to experiment to a much higher level, you can take your chimichurri, put it in a small saucepan, and put it on a super low heat. And what you will get is a much finer version of a confit oil or a flavored oil. So if you want to be really fancy and you have the 20-minute, like let's say you have a big party of people coming over. I know you.
Can you repeat that, Amir?
Yes. So I know the Driggses love to make parties, right? You have a big party coming over. You do the same thing we did for the chimichurri, but then instead of just leaving it in the bowl, you put it in a small saucepan and you put it on the lowest heat possible for 20 minutes, 25 minutes, and that will confit the oil. and the herbs and the garlic and everything. So it will taste like butter when you, I kind of want to do that right now. So you could see here, I have a confit jalapeno. It's like super mushy, and garlic that I will put on my steak afterwards. But what I'm going to do is use the oil to cook with. So it's a jalapeno and garlic oil. So my flavor is already I'm getting ahead of the flavor. So my pan is nice and hot.
Amir, I made garlic oil for last time. It was so yummy.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So my steak is in the pan.
About how much olive oil in the pan for the steak?
Tablespoon.
Okay.
And that's it. So,
Amir, a quick question. What would make you decide using avocado oil or butter? Like salted butter, unsalted butter? Is it just by taste, or is there any differences that those oils will do for the steak?
Let's let somebody that has been here answer that for us so we can see if people are participating.
The avocado oil can withstand a higher heat, whereas butter or olive oil would smoke or burn. Butter definitely, unless you're using ghee and you've taken the milk solids out.
Mm-hmm.
How was that, Amir?
Yeah.
So that was awesome. You're the shit. And I appreciate it.
So we are putting them in the pan with olive oil right now?
Because we're cooking at that medium heat. We're not cooking at a high heat, right? We want a crust, but we don't want an undercooked steak. That crust will form as long as the pan is hot prior to adding the steak. Doesn't matter how hot. It's just as long as the pan is warm. So medium heat will get the pan nice. That's why we preheated it nice and long ahead of time. So that way, when the time is ready, I don't have to worry if the pan is hot enough. And the steak, everyone, if you looked, I made sure, right? I said, make sure you leave your steak at room temperature. Because if it is cold prior to cooking, that center of the steak is going to take a lot longer to cook. And then you're going to be off on your times, on your cook times. Does that make sense?
Makes sense.
So anyone that's using the broiler, let's turn our broiler on high. So that should be the top of the oven for most of you, or unless it's like a separate section at the bottom of your oven. And your meat should be skewered up like this. Whatever, it could be meat, fish, chicken.
And how about the fish, Amir? Should we be putting that on now?
Yes, because again, the fish is going to take no time. It's going to take a total of maybe 8 to 10 minutes, depending on the thickness.
And how long for the steak?
I'm going to cook mine at medium, so mine's going to be on for about 8 minutes per side. Like a medium rare, I'm going to cook, so I'm going to do about 7 or 8 minutes. Again, for those that weren't here, the touch, right? So yes, it's important to like time your steak, but what did I say? Get the feel for it. That's why I gave the options tonight of 2 different styles of steak, because if you're not comfortable touching your meat and getting to know what the cook temperatures are, you're never going to get good at cooking steak, right? It's going to take time. So you learn, okay, oh, wow, it really is like touching your hand, the sensitivity. Like if you touch the steak now at the top, it's rare. Touch your hand, it feels the same.
John had a good question. John said we're really strong and we have really good grip strength and our muscle is really defined right here.
It doesn't matter, he's not making a muscle. When he starts to put his fingers here, he's making a muscle. I got answers for you. Gina, what's up? Thank you for reading.
Hey, Amir, I got a question regarding the different thickness of the if you have one steak that's thicker than the other. Are you going to put that steak on a couple minutes before, or are you going to put them on together?
So if everyone's cooking, if everyone's eating at the same time, yes. Now, again, how do you want those steaks cooked? chances, so if someone, let's say, wants their steak more medium or medium well, then I'd give them the thinner steak. Someone that wants the more rare, then I would give them the thicker steak because it's going to be easier to then adjust accordingly. Does that make sense?
Perfect. Yeah, understood.
So, but you can obviously start it prior. There's no question you can do that.
Yeah.
But if to just make it easier so everything is at the same time, then I would just give that the person who wants maybe the medium steak or the medium well, the thinner steak, because it's going to just be easier for you.
Got it. Yeah.
And they're not going to know the difference because they're not looking at somebody else's plate and be like, hey, their steak is thicker. Someone's bringing a ruler to the table. I don't know what. Yeet, right? Yeet. So that's it. So my broiler is ready. I'm going to put my kebabs in. I'm going to put a timer. So for this, I do need a timer because I'm not going to be there to feel it. And I'm just going to put it on 4 minutes. And then once it beeps, I'll flip it with my skewers, with my tongue. And then it will cook for another 4 minutes, and then it will rest. And then you can have it with salsa. You can have it with the marinade that it was marinated in. You can do whatever. Hummus, tahini, I'm Israeli, so that's going to obviously always be on the side of meat at my house. And we could do hummus one night if you guys want to do it all. But I would love feedback on what you guys want to learn. That obviously helps me. Don't get me wrong, I got plenty of recipes to share. We've only just begun. That's what's great. I'm getting great feedback and everyone's enjoying these. Guys, we haven't even scratched the surface on what's capable in the kitchen. Yes, number 2.
Hey, did you flip your steaks already?
No, sir. No way.
Slow your roll, Brandon.
How dare you, Brandon? How dare you? That is sacrilegious at this point.
I'm just kidding.
What a time machine you have there, Brandon.
I got 2 more minutes on mine, Brandon. I put mine on at 36 and it's 43 here. So I got 1 or 2 more minutes. I like to get a nice crust in the bottom. And here's the deal. If you're not sure, Brandon, you can see the browning start to come up on the side. Here, let me use my other phone. So you can see, it's really not that crusted yet. You can see the bottom is kind of rolling up a little. So it's building this canoe. Once it builds a basket, we're going to turn it over. We'll build a basket on the other side. We'll close the show, let it rest, let everything just settle, and then cut it on a bias. And then we're going to eat good. And we're going to all watch movies. Let me just make sure I'm good on time because I don't want to disrespect Rob.
So we got 15 minutes.
All right. Well, sorry.
No. I'm just doing the stove top so I can get everything ready for people.
What am I saying on? Brandon, I put my steak.
We're also in a small apartment kitchen here, and that's one of the things me and Alex are really looking forward to is actually getting a bigger kitchen so we can actually not smoke up our whole apartment with this.
Yeah, for sure. So, someone had asked me, and credit to Dawn, and I will keep you guys real time updated. So, hey, what's cool is, here in the Northeast, we actually have seasons. I know some of you don't actually know what seasons are. That means the weather changes. And so I'm going to be making different recipes as the weather's changed here over the next year, which is what's cool, because as we come into summer, maybe I'll speak more of your languages on the grill, right? Or the smoker. Or maybe we can brine stuff and put it in the smoker. Or I have a fire pit and show you guys how to work. It's a lot of cool stuff that we can share. Obviously, not everyone has those types of things. So my oven.
Amir, I had to wear a tank top today, and then I had to put on a jacket this evening.
Go on. I like.
So I have a season.
Don't change that. I like season. I have to wear a jacket now.
You're just adding salt to the wounds, Don.
All right, so I'm turning my steak that's in the broiler.
Amir, does that look all right?
Hold on 1 second, please, sir. And I'm going to put it in for free because that looks awesome, brother. Love it.
I think I got a little too small with the container for my skewers. They need to actually lay flat in like a roasting pan or something? Because I can put the tinfoil in this and put that in there because it's like they're all.
No,
like
they don't need to lay
together.
flat. No, I would space them out a little bit. And I'm gonna actually talk about that. Somebody asked about if they would need a lid tonight. Guys, we never need a lid for meat unless you're steaming it. Unless we're getting like ripped up for a bodybuilding competition, we don't need to steam food. This is something that I talked about in one of the other cooking sessions. The longer the cooking, the more breaking down of the food, right? So you could put a New York strip in the slow cooker and it'll taste good too, and it'll be shredded and delicious. But all that fat will be rendered through, and it's easier for your body to process. That's where my experience with the stomach issues comes in, is learning how to digest food as well. It's like, hey, that's why I mentioned, if you can't digest well or have stomach issues, a rare steak or a medium rare steak, probably not the best thing for you. Until you build up a tolerance. I got a minute and a half to go on my broiler. I got 2 more minutes on my New York strip. What I'm gonna do is because I actually have 4 minutes. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my steak and I'm gonna do 2 minutes on the fat side as well to finish it. Those look amazing, Sean Madrid. Nice job. So yeah. You see, sir? Looks great, man. See, notice, beautiful crust. Is anyone unhappy with their crust so far? Even though cooking it on medium heat, right? They always say, oh, you got to get the pan really, really hot for scallops, for shrimp. That's it. Everything else, medium high. Beautiful, Sarah Collins. I like it. I like it. I like it. I like it. My oven is smoking.
About 3 minutes for the broiler, right?
Yeah, I put 4 and 3. Mine was 4 and 3. And mine's done in 20 seconds. And my steak's in the pan. So now, hey, start sealing your steak on the thickest part. Like, where are you? Where are you in feel? Are you at medium? Are you at medium rare? Because you should be getting a kind of feel. Like, the top of the steak shouldn't be so hot that you can't touch it. Oh, look at that. Oh, man, that was butter. Perfectly cooked kebabs, guys. Nice sear on the outside. You can see the browning, right? So, like, real time, 7-8 minutes. Plus marinade, 3 minutes and 30 minutes in the fridge or an hour before. So you have a big party of friends coming over. You can marinate pork, steak, chicken, fish. Put it all, boom, broiler, grill. Because this same concept under the broiler is the same thing in the grill. I would bring that grill to like 400 or 500 degrees, put the skewers on, close it, 3-4 minutes, open it, turn them, 2 minutes, maybe 60 seconds, depending on how good your grill is. And again, we'll go into that as summer comes here. And that's it, you're done. So like 10 minutes pre-serving. These don't need to rest as long. And plus in this style, you're generally gonna put them out center table. It's not person. So by the time everyone gets to the table and everyone sits down and relaxes, the meat has rested. It's going to taste beautiful. And each person can just take as many skewers as they want based on how hungry they are. But you know, like this is, so you know, 4 kebabs, this was a 16-ounce steak. So 4 kebabs with 4 to 2 1-inch skewers, 1 to 2 inch cubes, and boom. So 4 by 4, and that's gonna be your serving sizes. And it's just practice like anything else. So I'm taking my steak off the pan. It's done. It actually went a minute over, but I don't mind. That's it, we're done cooking. So that's gonna sit there for 10 minutes. For class purposes, I'll eat my steak a little drier, 7 minutes. But from here, you know, what's cool is, look, you could take now, for those of you that have done one of the other classes, right? I could take more oil. I could add oil to this. I could take beef stock, chicken stock, vegetable stock, red wine. I could take pomegranate juice. I could take a cream sauce and mushrooms. So I could take some mushrooms and put those in the pan and then finish off with some cream. And then I have a nice mushroom cream sauce on the side. I can do asparagus and sear the asparagus and then finish that with cream and do like an asparagus and a cream sauce. So the idea is, look, let's say I want to make my fajitas now. I can make my fajitas now also. So I could start throwing peppers in the pan and put those strip steaks that I cut up if I had a third steak, right? And then, I mean, look, obviously I'm showing you guys and I'm explaining and answering questions, so it's taking longer. But in real time, you know, Jason Park can attest. I do this normally in 20 minutes and then I eat for the rest of our session. Does anyone have any questions? Raise your hand just so we don't all blurt out at once if anyone does have any questions. Yes, Colleen, what's up?
Okay. When you take the chimichurri sauce, is it lightly spread on top of the steak when it's done?
Yeah, I'm going to show that. Don't you worry, girl.
Okay.
Got your back. I told you I did, right? Did anyone find this difficult at all?
No.
If you did, let's talk, because there's no reason why any of you should not be cooking steaks like a steakhouse chef or better, right? Because sometimes they're preoccupied with 30 other dishes. So if you want to make good steak, like Tanya and I, that's why it's like buff on a budget. It's not because I'm saving money on food, guys. I love food. You know, Trevor shared a book. Trevor is one of the other members in the group. He shared a book, and it's about finances. And the idea behind the book is like, learn to spend your money where your passions are, right? So if you're going to eat good, like I spent $14 on these steaks, $15 on these 2 steaks tonight. That's dinner for me and Tanya, and let's say another $3.50 on asparagus and 50 cents on a potato. That's why it's buff on a budget, because then I could take food that you would normally pay $100 for. Let's say the duck. I made duck 2 weeks ago. That's a $45 dish that I paid $8.50 for the duck breast. So that's buff on a budget. Is taking food that you would have to take a big wad out to, because who doesn't love a good meal? Everybody does. So why should you cheat yourself of that because you're not confident in a steak or a rack of lamb or a piece of fish? You know, how many of you, easily raise your hand, like are more confident in cooking chicken or fish if you've done any of the classes? So, you know, and nothing, guys. We haven't learned anything. We're learning pan sauce and steak. How much attention did I give the steak? That's why I want to show you guys this. So then when we start doing steak with vegetables, with a side, with this, then it's like boom, boom, boom. Then you're working like you're in a professional kitchen. What's up, Dawn? Dawn Schumann with the question.
So no, I love this. You're actually teaching us a lot. You're teaching the foundation of everything. So I've done this with pomegranate juice and veggie broth, but I made these like kafta.
Yeah, there you go. That's, again, beautiful. That's what it's all about. That's what I want to do, is give you guys principle-based stuff that will then transfer over easily. I have one more minute, by the way, guys, and then I'm going to show you how I cut my steak. Yes, sir.
Real quick, I'm going to go ahead and have to jump off just to get everything ready for coming to America too. But
sorry, tell them my apologies. If anybody needs to jump off, guys, technically your steak should be done. You can cut them and put the marinade
on. Amir, I just wanted to say thank you. Really beautiful steaks. I've never cooked steaks this well, and it's actually a huge insecurity for me. So thank you.
My pleasure, bro. Yeah, tell Rob I'm running late. I'm sorry.
No biggie. We'll wait for y'all.
Yeah, sorry. That's not nice. Everyone should have a nice knife ready to go. And look, feel your steak. Like, where are you on your steak? If you're not where you want to be, put it back on the pan. So, bias. Okay? 45-degree angle. About a ½ inch thick. Oh yeah, these are fucking beautiful. That's much better. So point of the knife down, and then like a cleaver, you're going through the meat. Point of the knife down, through the meat. Point of the knife down, through the meat. Point of the knife down. Oh man, I'm so proud of myself, to be honest with you guys. This looks so good. Let's do it salt-based style? No, that's crazy. But I will show you guys what my meat looks like. Not that like cooked meat.
I've been waiting for the jokes. I'm like, where are they? Where's the 7th grade humor? That's my humor.
So guys, that's the show for tonight.
Oh,
now you
pretty.
just take your chimiichuri and make a nice plate. So guys, please, share, like, love. No, I'm just kidding. But look, the idea is behind this is how can we all get better together? So whether it's you giving me ideas for recipes or me teaching you how to cook, and then you teaching me in return what you did with it, that's like, right? Will teaches that all the time. That's the best lesson I can teach you, is something that then you can come back to me with and show me how it's been applied. That's where y'all should be at right now.
Pretty, everybody.
Damn, Amir, that is beautiful.
Thank you, bro. It's for you. Bon appetit.
Yeah. Don't worry.
Bon
I'm going to make mine
appetito.
in a couple hours.
Any questions, guys? Nice. Let me see. Yeah, bring them up. That'd be awesome. Next time we'll get everyone put their pan up to the camera with a big snapshot. Oh yeah, Shona Driggs. That looks awesome. Nice. Very nice, Brandon. That looks awesome, brother. How's that feel? How you feel with those? Nice.
I think they gotta rest a little bit longer. They've only been resting maybe 5 minutes. So
that's okay. The thicker ones got to rest longer. But you saw, look, you know, they should come out pink as, you know, and perfect.
The kebabs are great.
He already ate the whole kebab.
Nice.
I only made one, but I ate it all.
Thank you.
But no
Amazing.
problem. Thank you, guys. How easy was that, right, guys?
Way easy. Way easy. Unbelievably easy.
You're fucking
So-
dope, man.
We can do filet mignon. We can do ribeyes. We can do everything. New York strip is the most basic because all the meat, there's no fats in the center, so we don't have to cook it as much. But yeah, so next week, rack of lamb, guys. I'll put the ingredients in the groups and enjoy your meals. Thank you guys so much for allowing me to share with you. And yeah, any feedback is always appreciated.
Thank you.
Thanks, Amir.
Thank you,
Samir,
Amir.
that was awesome.
Thank you. Enjoy the movie, guys. I'm going to hop on with the other
All right,
group.
everybody have a good dinner.
Guys, enjoy your dinners.
Bye.
Thank you all.